Willats TV. We have Ana Willats here. She used to be one of our commentaries a couple years ago, and we want her back because she's one of our activists in the city in Toronto who's always looks for social justice for women and children, and also for our Latin American community and all immigrants and newcomers and the LGBT community. She's a fantastic woman and activist. Well known, recognized. Ana Willats, everybody will say, wow, Ana Willats is one of those amazing citizens that we need more like her.
Oh, thanks, Alex.
Anyways, welcome
good
back.
To be talking with you.
So, Ana, one of the reasons I wanted to talk about it is what is going on with violence against women. Mm-hmm. And we have this news from this a couple of days ago. This Filipina woman got killed by her partner, who is a military. Mm-hmm. They was in Afghanistan. And sometimes the media kind of twist the information, and what you hear a lot is like, who was this man?
Right. Yes. Yeah.
But we don't actually touch the real issue here. That an immigrant woman, a Filipino woman, got killed while she was pregnant.
Yes. Yeah, absolutely. We're hearing a lot about his story, Alex, and we're getting to know who he is, and hearing the people he used to work with in the armed forces, the messages of, how full of grief they are, and, this is a loss to the military family, as if he is a victim of a crime here. And of course, we don't know his mental state, or we don't know what was going on with him, but certainly he murdered his wife, and they were just married like a month and a half ago. They met in August, and he murdered her and the fetus, and destroyed the child that they were going to have, and threw her over the balcony, and then jumped himself. It sounds like is what exactly happened. And we're not hearing who she is. We know her name, Precious Charbonneau, but we don't know her story. We're not hearing how is this impacting her community and her family and her friends, and it makes it really, really difficult we're also not hearing about this as a crime of violence against women. We're hearing about this as a tragedy, but we're not, hearing about how common this kind of crime against women is, especially immigrant women who are so vulnerable, especially if the partner is someone who's sponsored them. I mean, again, we don't know in this situation all of the details, but there's a lot of story to be told here, and we're only hearing a very little bit.
Yeah, and that is the bad thing. I mean, we know that many soldiers, they're going to Afghanistan, they have this traumatic experience, and perhaps they see children die, and they tend to come with this, what is it called?
Post-traumatic stress disorder, PTSD.
Yeah, and we know the war creates this.
Yes.
And that is important to say that, because if you don't say that, war is not fun for anybody. It's not something that we want to continue happening in the war.
Yes.
Because then people come pretending they are like well, and they not.
Well, they're absolutely. I mean, so this is the thing, we don't know a lot of information, but if this man was overcome by a psychological breakdown of some sort, or due to PTSD, the last time I think he was in Afghanistan might have been 2009, I think. But if he was affected by that, and if that caused him to break with reality and do this awful thing, it's a really good argument that why we should not be pursuing war, why violence, the violence of war impacts so many, and maybe it has even come home and impacted this poor woman. But if his friends all say that they never thought that he had PTSD, that they've never seen any sign of that they, folks who know him well have said that that's not something that they ever saw in him. In which case, we have to look at his motivations being the same as any man who does this awful crime against their partner. Need for control, an extreme dependency, that if they feel the woman is drawing away from them in any way, they will do whatever it takes to keep her under control. Murderous rage, and there are so many risk factors that we know exist for this kind of partner violence, this lethal partner violence. And so we need to understand that as well, that even if he had PTSD, even if he has a mental illness, that does not necessarily explain why he did what he did. Many men commit this crime, and it's not due to PTSD. It's not due to, being traumatized in any way. So again, these are things that we don't know, but the media coverage should bring these things up as issues, as Las Perlas does, and other non-mainstream media.
Yeah, and it is very important. You actually say something about being more sensitive about the Filipino community. What is this woman has family here?
Yes.
Is this what is happening to her family in the Philippines?
Yeah.
And how the community will receive this impact, right?
Yes.
They will be afraid to be with people like I don't know. I mean, it's just very strong impact.
It really is. It really, it also is yet another reminder that perfectly wonderful looking couples can have an undercurrent of this kind of thing. We don't know the nature of their relationship. Hopefully we get past this, he's a war hero story, which is really beside the point and is not the point at all.
Well, no anymore. I mean, for an act like this, right?
Yes, exactly. I mean, how can you square someone being heroic? But we know that, a lot of the people we decorate as heroes have done some pretty awful things in war as well. So, I mean, we have these stereotypes that we're dealing with, but we don't really know what was going on in that relationship. It sounds like it was a pretty sweep you off your feet kind of thing. They met in August, got married in November. We're expecting a baby in about, I guess 5 or 6 months. And so it may be that this has been a relationship that's very tumultuous from the start, very intense, a lot of ups and a lot of real downs. We don't know, but often people around a couple like that really don't know the level of violence and the level of threat that goes on, and it's just a very sad situation. And as you say, it affects an entire community. And depending on the circumstances of how they met and what her situation here in Canada is, we'll have to see what the repercussions are, for sure.
Well, friends, we're gonna leave you with this, but we want the media that is out there, like all those channels that you see, to actually talk about her, about her community, about her background, and to be more sensitive of what is happening to newcomers that sometimes we just...
Very, very vulnerable.
Yes,
absolutely. We need to be talking about it.
Yeah, well, everybody have a good holidays and see you next time.